Disclaimer: the following statements presented in this video are product of my personal understanding on how the game works, including AI development and timings, as well as the economy and the perspective through the developer's eyes on how it needs to function for it to not crumble that I envision, and is my opinion on the matter. Being so, this is not the final word on it, even though some may paint me as an expert on this field. It is incentivized to develop a personal understanding of these topics and form a civilized opinion, as knowledge is power, and to keep matters civic. Without further ado, please enjoy this video. This video took me a while to do, especially since I was focused on the Halloween event and didn't pay much attention to its effects on non-event bound activities other than whenever I did my Mount Silver Red reruns, where I felt the effect partially, but not fully grasping its meaning. I hope I didn't keep you waiting for too much, since a lot of people were waiting on my opinion on this topic of today, the effect of the Halloween update on gyms and E4. As most of you may know, or if you haven't been aware, PokeMMO released within their Halloween update a change on how strings works, more exactly, on how they are allowed to affect the game, stating with mods which remove strings no longer increase effective text speed, on the bug fixes section. Yeah, bug fixes. Yeah, surely that's what that meant. Anyway, what this means is that text boxes cannot be skipped anymore, and that their minimum time text appearance is mandatory. Now, how much does this affect on the matter? Let's break it down. First of all, the main change that affects both areas, gyms and E4, it's quite simple to mention but requires a bit of explaining. Any time delay related to text pop-ups that isn't affected by text speed, so mostly outside of battle text prompts and the PC storage and NPC interactions, applies their minimum time window upon each text box. Now, what does this mean? What's the time delay for each text box? Well, the text box delay before the next one can show up normally or for the dialogue interaction to end itself on every individual one is a minimum of 0.5 seconds and up to 1 second per dialogue text box. This is mainly why Canton Juan got butchered so much. And for what this means, it summarizes to outside world interactions becoming much slower. Since you can't skip each text box until the minimum time window for each happens within NPC and object interactions, this leaves you waiting and wasting time that easily adds up during these two activities, accumulating to at least being 40 seconds of delay for each on a good pacing run. 40 seconds. Keep that in mind for when we talk about gyms later. For now, let's focus on the other changes that happened within the update. Following it up, swift clicking. Now, I know this term will sound a bit alienated to most of you, but this came from the era before they changed strings during the Halloween update. It happened between Johto update and now it was alive. So, what is it? It's quite self-explanatory too, so don't worry about it. It means the ease on which a player could swiftly select multiple clickable boxes in a short frame window with its mouse movement. And I hope you didn't get your hopes up hitting this. That like, oh, great, a good way of expressing my skill expression with my mouse movement. No, because they removed it. Now you can't effectively select multiple options, or even your first option, in the first few frames, and even in a short interval, having to wait at least a full second of duration, or 60 frames, to select another option via mouse click. Yes, this change kills switch mouse expertise out of the game. But if you know how to input properly through battle screen options using your keyboard while having low ping, you can still do fast selection. B keyword while having low ping, because sometimes servers won't receive your inputs if your ping is high enough, so the poor get poorer. Thirdly, Pokemon Center healing now takes 2 extra seconds to perform if it's the first time of the login. I don't know why this is a thing, but it is. So we have to live with it. Unless it's a bug they fix later within the Halloween, within the Christmas update, I guess. After all, when I said that bounce silver red move only applied on on a clean turn switching and only once, they were both classified as bugs once the Halloween update dropped. So who knows? Now, going back onto that point where I went before saying that Kanto and Hoenn were the most affected regions, that has to do with their important NPC interactions, being gym leaders and E4 members, getting nerfed due to GVA games not supporting mash through options to skip text boxes. So those text box delays you have to suffer through are their text boxes being cycled once each per second. Yes, one whole second per text box. That's why Brock is the most annoying of them all, since he talks too much on his original dialogue as an introductory to the gym system, and Fire Red Leaf Green having no rematches. That's the text you're stuck with waiting every time. And one change that is related to a gym leader indirectly is Norman's interactable gym doors. More precisely, how their timers got increased, since now they're nerfed from the previous 1 second of wait per door, even the doorman's door, to now being 2 seconds if it's a small door, or 3 seconds if it's the door to Norman's room, adding up to a minimum of 5 seconds of time wasted, and increases slightly the more ping you have. The text box changes also affect the PC storage, giving you a forced delay too, which is about 1.5 seconds. And for the final change, the Pokemon Center healing got unified, quote unquote, on how the developers wanted to communicate with us, and overall nerfed, being the following. Kanto and Hoenn got their PC healing from 1 second to 3.5 seconds. Johto and Sinnoh went from 5 seconds to 6 seconds, and Junoa PC healing went from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. So because every region, well, mainly Kanto, Hoenn, and sometimes Sinnoh, if you're doing a run, there, if you the minimum time you're losing is 6 seconds. 1 second from Sinnoh, 2.5 from Kanto, and 2.5 from Hoenn. Those were the main systematic changes. Now let's talk about in-battle changes, of which there's a few lists of them I've come to see so far. They actually buffed Intimidate to resolve faster, going from 4 seconds to just 2. However, this came with a cost, and that is that abilities that prevented Intimidate attack drop got nerfed, being Hypercutter and Clear Body the two main examples I know, going from having no delay whatsoever and letting you select your moves instantly to 3 seconds of delay. This means this has mainly happened to me when I use Clear Body Metagross to either clear the Route 13 Gentleman Jan or to clear Xiangwo's gym with Choice Band Explosion. It's annoying, and now it's the downside trying to use a clear Intimidate immune mon, because now you get this extra delay compared to normal Intimidate, which is super annoying, but it is what it is. Following that up is a nerf to Pressure and Mold Breaker. Now, I know what you're thinking. Does this affect E4 reruns with Excadrill? And the simple answer is no, it doesn't affect them, because for some reason the change only affects multi-battles, double and triples, for some reason. And as now, these abilities are no longer instant if they are the only ability on queue for pop-up, and instead have the regular pop-up delay as if they were stringless single battles. Yes, stringless single battles, not string single battles, stringless. So TLDR, the devs were haters that I was using Moldbreaker Excadrill and Pressure Zapdos on my Gym Run and World Record teams, or at least that's how I want to visualize it, because why else will you nerf exactly these two abilities, but not every other pop-up ability? They even buff and nerf for some reason, but they nerf these two. I don't know. The devs know, not me. Now to summarize its effect on gyms and E4 reruns alike, and the future of them in this new era. It's alright. Like, for the most part, it's fine. Performance across players should result on an average of 1 to 3 gyms lost, depending on factors like PC healing dependency and such. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And there's also a niche case where I have been able to get my previous blind average of 36 gyms on a time crunch. So it's very possible that if the average skill level rises, it may have not mattered. However, even though this last part may sound like all joy and happiness, because it's like, oh wait, if your skill level is high enough, you don't get affected, the update is good. No, that's not the reality. The reality is that aiming for a world record now is pointless. Remember those 40 plus seconds of minimal time loss I talked about before? Yeah, that the minimum time loss is to precisely prevent my world record of 39 to be ever achieved again, even on the most well-planned scouted routes. And also, this is without considering matchup variance delays. So yeah, the developers got to me on the heaven, pulled me down from there, and transformed me back into a mere mortal for you all. It's over. I salute you all on my farewell. This journey was fun, but it has come to an abrupt end by the developers themselves. And as for E4 reruns, what sucks more is that now one feels obligated to do the logout skips on most of them, if not all of the champions post battle texts. Before this update, I never intended and never did skip them. Like I never looked at needing to log out to skip through the text from them, as their timing just ended up matching the same speed as not logging out. And also, a reminder, forcing a logout when your login is current keeps the charm's timer running, as opposed to if you log out normally, the charm pauses. Now, because of this change with collateral damage to both E4 and gyms, I have become a logout skipper myself, as to not be left out on profit and to play around bad variations during an E4 rerun, but still losing some pace due to these changes. Like the 40 seconds that I talked before, they apply here because not only it affects the E4 members, it also affects the PC, affects the mom on various regions. It's annoying. And as for mixed runs that start with an E4 and then transition into a gym rerun, expect to lose the same amount of gyms as a pure gym run. 1 to 3. Maybe two as an average, normally. Now, this may sound like I'm hating on what they did with this update, but I'm not. Instead, I understand why they wanted, and more importantly, needed to take action. Just for perspective and for everyone to be understanding of them, during the month of October, before the Halloween update dropped, the profit margins of doing 5 elite form on a E4 rerun within one charm boost were the same if you farmed your own amulet coin or if you bought either of the richest charms 75 and 100%. Just let that sink in. You were doing the same profit if you were buying a richest charm or if you were farming an amulet coin by yourself. It was insane. This is one of two decisions they made to try and correct the economy of this absurd inflation of richest charm. They saw, okay, if we lower the performance of them, by default, the prices should lower because the profits are lower. So they need to lower the price to match the profit. But also, if they proactively, in case it fails, their second decision was also adding the richest charms themselves to the 2024 goodie bags and pumpkin goodie bags. Normally, what people told me that happened is that they were exclusive to the Lunar New Year loot boxes of the envelopes. But because the economy was so fucked up on the profit margins, they did this economical decision to add them to the pumpkin bags and the goodie bags themselves. They had to tone down the efficiency of set runs to not create a mass of Pokemon flow they couldn't slow down, while also giving the economy the supply it needed to not deflate. And they did so perfectly as for us, the player base, to have access to more profits even though the efficiency was reduced and total Pokemon gain was so too. Yes, the amount of total Pokemon that the economy receives is less, but the cost of the items for the supply, given with the extra supply, are also cheaper to buy. meaning that the average profit is higher while the economy doesn't inflate with that greater of an amount of Pokemon being sent on the economy. Now, there's an exception to this. And the exception being that high-end runs, of like very high-end runs, are dead. Doing 5v4 plus red plus anything else is dead. Or even doing world record gym reruns. Both of those activities are dead because technically now my world record is locked. The 39 gyms is locked there forever until they make some changes or some improvements. It's locked there forever. And for the E4 runs, now if you fuck up once on a run, you are punished a bit. And the more you fuck up, the more you get punished. But it's exponential, the fuck ups. If you fuck up like twice, it's more and it's more of a time loss than if you fucked up twice across 2 runs. Instead, if you fuck up twice, 3 times, 4 times, or even 5 during the same run, you get exponentially punished with this new system of changes of those strings. So like, yes, it is less possible that you do 5v4 plus red plus something else. It is possible you do 5v4 plus red. It is possible you do 5v4 plus extra trainers, but it's not possible to do all of them at the same time. 5v4, red, trainers. Those 3 things are not combined together. You can combine 4 plus red plus trainers, or 4 plus red plus gyms, for sure, because you are taking 1 E4 out of the way, around 13 minutes you're taking to invest into something else. But you can't do the most high-end version of those runs anymore. So that's pretty much it for the conversation. I am partially and somewhat of disappointed on what they had to do because it affects me the most. Like, yeah, I understand the price I had to pay. I am one of the, if not more skilled players to do these runs. And I feel like kind of responsible for these changes because let's think of it. The gym, I achieved the potential of gyms to 39. And I also shared in YouTube my most profitable run for E4, which was that 5 E4 plus red plus Cynthia run. That run was one of if not my most profitable gym run, like E4 run ever. So I understand why they had to do it. But at the same time, I'm kind of disappointed because now I feel like my skill was wasted on these PvE activities. Like technically, sure, I can keep doing blind runs and still make some good profit, but like I lost the fun of it. I feel like these changes just sucked up the fun out of doing the runs. Before I could enjoy doing the process of getting 36 gyms blind every time because at least I was doing what I wanted to do, which was doing my sub to the Excadrill team, expressing my skill expression because I know and I studied how the AI worked. But like at the end of the day, if they had to nerf this, obviously it's only affected me on this fun. Like obviously, I am a high end player. I min max these two activities to a brink. But and obviously you had to do it for the better of the economy. But what is left of me? Thanks for watching, I guess.